And
We're live.
action! We're not yet live. We're not yet live.
What's going on?
Yes! We're totally live. Hello, Fanatics. This is Crazy Russian Dad and...
Crazy Russian son.
Crazy Russian Son. Are you drinking tea or something?
I'm drinking a chai tea latte.
Chai tea latte. That sounds weird. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited that you're joining us. Please sit back, relax, enjoy the show.
And stick around.
And stick around because today we're doing something very, very special. We're always doing something special, but
Today it's very special.
it's very special because we're gonna have a guest, okay? And for once, it won't be me in a wig. It will be like actually a different
Don't spoil the fun.
human being. Okay, but how are you all doing? We can see your comments. So if you put comments, you know, in the comment areas, then you will see the comments. So today we're going to check in first with my son. No, first we're going to do something really fun.
Dad,
okay, I
this
just
is
want.
all you do these days.
No, seriously. I just want to show you something funny. Okay, hold on. Just give us a moment. It's going to be really funny.
Have you heard of Snapchat?
Snapchat.
It's what kids do for fun, except
It's good for
Hang on.
adults as well.
except you actually like to play with the filters.
I like playing with filters. Hold on, people. Hold on. It's going to be super awesome. How come it's not working? Oh, hold on, people. Hold on. We have a special guest almost in the studio. Give us one moment.
Dad, you know teenagers are supposed to use this app, right?
Can you see us? See? You see the beard? Beard not real. Say something, son.
Yes. Shouldn't we talk about our week or something? Like
Yes.
we normally do?
How's your week, son?
It was good. I had my performance yesterday for the play.
Performance.
I kept talking about the
Yes,
rehearsals for it.
performance. Let's
You
go
went
back
to
to
the
our
perfor-
normal. Let's go back to our normal ways. We go back. Are you all still there? Are you still all there? Oh, good. Let's say hello to some of our fanatics.
Доброе утро.
Florence Richards called right now. Oh, it's good, like Mother Russia. Natalia, okay. Barbara, hello, welcome. Son, so you had a play.
Yes, you went to the play.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
I did not fall asleep right away. You know, chairs very comfortable.
Yeah, at least it wasn't Shakespeare.
It
you
wasn't
probably
Shakespeare.
understood something,
I
right?
couldn't hear much.
Oh.
But I still don't get it. Were you Peter or Wendy?
I was in the ensemble.
Ensemble.
You know, the background.
Ты играл вороту, когда сидит на шпиле, да?
What?
Okay, yeah, listen everybody. Didn't we have some surprise? Okay, so our guest has arrived,
But we have a video to show you.
but before she's fully here, okay, and she's a professional translator, okay?
Someone says we look so much alike.
We look alike, but I am much more sophisticated. Can you see? These are books by my friend. She's translated those books, and so she will talk about them. It's going to be amazing. For once, we're going to have a guest, and
A
it's
real
not,
guest.
It's not me in a wig.
Or me, yes.
Okay, but before we go there,
Let's show an
people,
old video of ours.
listen, I want to embarrass my son and show you one of our old videos. It is Little Red Riding
It's
Hood.
only 2 years ago. It's not that embarrassing.
Well, okay, so we want to play this old video for you. I think you're going to like it. And do you know the story Little Red Riding Hood?
Dad, everybody knows the story Little Red Riding.
A girl goes
Played by me.
to see grandmother with...
Played by Crazy Russian.
Yes, and...
But meets the wolf, also played by Crazy
yes,
Russian Dad.
okay, let's roll the tape. Jim, roll the tape. And we're gonna mute ourselves. Clip. And action.
Hello, I am Little Red Rising Hood. I am carrying pirashki to my babushka. She lives very far away and she loves pirashki. And I love my babushka. I must trek through the woods for miles upon miles.
Hello, little girl.
Hello, Mr. Wolf.
I am a big bad wolf. Scary, isn't it? What is this?
Can you just roar one more time, please?
What are you doing?
Wait
Is
till
that
I put that on Instagram. What's your username? Can I-
Wolf1234 at thebigforest.com? I think it's my first Wolfie. I just ate 3 little pigs in the blanket. They were vegetarian. And what is your name?
I am Little Red Riding Hood.
And what's in your basket?
Pirashki and my phone. I am carrying my pirashki to my babushka. She lives very far away in the woods.
Where did you get the pirashki?
At the Russian store.
At the Russian store. Are you Russian then?
Yes.
Well, you Russians are meddling with all the affairs of all the animals in the forest.
Don't listen to those liberal animals. Russians are good people. See, we make pirashki like this. Here, I can give you one to try.
Okay, I would like that very much. I guess I will see you later on. I guess she's not so bad, even though it's a Russian Red Riding Hood.
How dare you! Babushka.
Oh, granddaughter, so good to see you. Give grandmother a kiss. Oh, good. How are you?
How are you feeling, grandmother?
Good. Started working outing again.
Okay, now
preparing for competition of the babushkas.
Stop it! The doctor told you to stop it. Stop working out. It is not good for your fragile bones.
Fragile bones, okay.
How are you feeling?
I am okay, yes.
Why are your eyes so big?
I have been watching news all day long.
Why are your ears so big?
It's not the same anymore in the forest. I've been hearing rumors.
You know, I saw a wolf earlier today. He seemed very miserable and hungry. Maybe we should help him.
You have a good heart, but no, we're not going to help the wolf. And he needs to stop terrorizing good animals
Terrorizing good
in the
animals.
forest. Maybe his father or grandfather could have gotten away with it, but no, this is 2017 and the wolf must get a job. If he shows up here, I will blow his brains out with my gun.
Okay, have some pirashki, babushka.
Thank you, grand. And we're back, and I'd like to introduce you to my friend. Hold on. Do I call you by your real name, Julia, or Katya?
I think the real one will do. That's good.
This is Julia, everybody, and I think you should know that it's not me in a wig. Like, she's a whole other person.
I do have nicer hair than your wig, so yeah.
Yes, she has much nicer hair than my wigs. Welcome to the show, and let it be known. What's today, younger boy? What's today? November
15th.
November what?
16th.
November 16, year 2019, since birth of Christ.
That's not what it is anymore. That's
It's not
politically correct.
It's not politically correct. Anyway, November 16 is the day when the. By the way, Julia, camera is over here.
Yeah, but I'm listening to you.
Yes. David Crazy Russia that had another human being that's not related to him by blood on the show. Welcome.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Julia is here just for a couple of days from Los Angeles and other cool locations. And she made the time for the show. So Julia
I was
is
here for coffee 15 minutes early.
coffee.
So.
Yes. I've known Julia forever, but Julia A is much smarter than me, B much better looking than me, and C is a professional translator among other talents that she has. And we will talk to Julia.
I should come more
How
often.
is it
I
going?
love this. It's
Can I
going.
kiss you on the
Yes,
cheek?
please.
Mwah.
Aw.
We've known each other. Yes, I kiss all my guestesses. So, Julia, I guess first things first, where are you from? All of this type of stuff.
I was born in Moscow a long time ago, and I finished my sophomore year at Moscow University, and then I came here, and that was almost 30 years ago.
30 years
Yeah,
ago?
almost 30 years
So
ago.
you came at the age of two.
Two, right.
At the age of 2, okay.
At least we're consistent on that.
Yes. Came at the age
I
of 2.
wish, right.
Okay, I forgot my questions. Hold on.
This
how
is the
long have you
serious
been
part,
here?
right.
No, you
Right,
already
we
said
covered that already.
Okay, so
What a great interview.
you already answered all my questions,
Right,
but
so we can just get to the last part.
let's
right,
get to the fun part. So listen, by the way, for everybody watching us from all over the world, you can add your questions for my friend Julia. But I'll start myself. So Julia, I understand that you've translated like books from Russian into
have.
English. How did you get into this whole translation thing?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'm not original. None of us translators do it for the money because there's literally no money in translation, especially literary translation. So what usually happens?
So not a good career?
No, I wouldn't recommend it as a career. No, at least not for material values. But don't train your children to be translators. But most of us get into translation because we find a book we love and it hasn't been translated or it hasn't been done well, and so we do it. And that's how most people get into literary translation.
Seriously?
At least in my circles. Yeah.
Wait, literary,
Right. So not technical specifications.
Literary.
Literary.
I cannot pronounce literally.
Literary.
Literary.
Literal translation.
Fiction.
Fiction.
Yes.
So I mean, we read back in Russia. I remember reading many classics in Russian. Obviously, they were translated usually by some great writers themselves. Like, does it take? I mean, what does it take to translate somebody's literature? I guess.
Wow.
What's easy? What's hard?
This is too early for deep questions on Saturday morning. But,
Okay. Tell me about your workouts. No.
We do a lot of planking.
Yes.
Well,
We'll talk about planking later.
All right. I think that it takes a lot of love for the books you read, and it takes. You have to have some command of the language that's beyond just speaking the language. I think you do have to have a certain ability to express yourself in the target language, and you want the understanding of the source language. Does that make sense?
I think so.
But a lot of it is just passion, and you just really want to tell the story.
I guess starting with craft. For all of you who want to know about translation, I guess, how do you do it? Do you use like a dictionary? Do you use some program?
well,
I mean, how do you actually translate?
I probably do it. My ways are very simple and they're not technically advanced. It's just how I like to work. I have a monitor with two texts: the source language, source text, the original Russian, and the English translation. I have them side by side. I don't like to use two monitors because that's just too much to look at.
Okay.
And I have several tabs open with things to look up, and with multi-tran as the online dictionary, and so I switched from tab to tab.
Is it what's easy and what's hard? Like if somebody wants to translate.
There's nothing easy. The hard part for me is, I do have a full-time job that I actually like, which is not translation. But so when you work, full-time, and then you turn off one computer and you switch to another laptop, and so you're constantly in some way attached to a laptop, and my eyes are not thanking me, trust me. But that's the hard part, because you end up doing translation stuff nights, weekends. I'm invited to a ball game tomorrow, and I'm gonna bring my laptop because I have to finish something. So it's always morning before breakfast, a couple hours after dinner. So that's the hard part.
So you are truly passionate about this stuff. That's why you do
I
it.
think most of the people I know who are in the field of literary translation, they really are. They're a little dorky and passionate and a little crazy. And,
Interesting. Well, here's a question that I always wanted to know. Like, suppose you encounter a word that does not exist. Like, I made up a word the other day.
Of course you did.
Seriously, no, I made up a
Don't
word.
say it.
It's called paranoid. Paranoid.
No one uses made-up words.
No,
That's what
like-
you're trying to ask
Shakespeare
me.
says.
Just hold on.
Shakespeare uses
I made
it all
up
the
the word
time.
paranoid, but baran means ram, somebody who's dumb, but it's also sort of somebody digital, paranoid, but also it sounds like paranoid. Like, how
Right,
would you
no,
translate the word
Oh, God,
paranoid?
I have to think about it. But I have a dear friend, hi Alex Schwartzman, who once had to translate a title for a Russian story that is called Без названия. Not without name, but без.
Без?
With an
Like a
S,
devil?
like a devil, right? And so he translated it as untilted. Untilted, not untitled, which is how I always want to say it. Untilted. So he went a completely different way, but it's just the most. I would love to use one of my examples, but none of them are as brilliant as this one. This one was just
You're very humble.
wonderful. Well, because he's better than me. So.
But how do you translate words that are like not that don't have like a specific word?
Well,
like paranoid.
No, not like.
All right, I'll get back to you now. And sometimes you walk away from it, and 2 days later you come up with something. And unlike this terrifying experience, it's not live, so you can go back and change things.
I see. Well, let's forget about my paranoid, but hopefully we'll get back to it. Do we have any questions from the audience for Julia?
Not yet.
Listen.
Maybe I can ask them.
Okay, if you have questions for the professional translator, please comment and add questions. But in the meantime, Julia, I guess you brought a couple of your books. Can you
I did.
read from one or introduce what are those? What are the books? In case you want to buy a book, okay?
Right.
What books
I get to
have you
plug the
translated?
books. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
So this came out last year, exactly, actually a year and 3 days ago. And this is a book by Russian writers Marina and Sergei Dichenko. They are well-known Russian sci-fi and fantasy writers, and it's called Vita Nostra. This came out on...
Vita Nostra.
Vita Nostra.
I know Cosa Nostra.
Close,
That's Italian
close,
mafia.
close,
no?
right? And in Latin, that means our life. But this is a book that breaks people's brains, literally. Like people physically feel the pressure of reading this book. And,
What is it about?
it's about a young girl who is about to start her student life at the university, and life is pretty much.
Yeah, don't
all
get me
ahead of
started
her.
on university
Sorry.
life, because my older boy, well, it's a separate conversation.
Well, you would
Go
actually,
ahead.
you'd love this because this is all about, I mean, the plot, without spoilers, she encounters a stranger who forces her into foregoing all her plans and going to this completely unknown provincial little university where she is forced to learn things that she doesn't understand. And then eventually with time...
That's not Harry Potter, is it?
It's not. It's always been compared to it, but no, it's not. It's more like Lev Grossman's Magicians, or it's actually... It was inspired by Ionesco's play called The Lesson, so that's not inspired by Harry Potter at all. But it's about the place of language in the world, which of course is like, it was like custom written for me, or it felt like it. And it's about how far you can push your children when you think that they have potential and they're fighting back, which is
You need to push your
what
children.
you like.
So listen, if you are just joining us, this is not me. This is my friend Julia, who is a professional translator, and among other things, she translated this book Vita Nostra. Do you have a favorite passage from this book, or do you want to talk about your other book, or just?
Well, I'm not a great reader. Why don't we? Talk
I'm a
about...
great reader.
Well, you read it then.
No, it's okay. Just tell us some favorite part.
Well, there is a part where all the students come to this college, and none of them want to be there. They've all been forced and blackmailed into going. And they have their first lecture where their professor basically says, you're here to learn what you don't understand, and you're going to do it because we think you can. And when they ask why can't they be explained, why can't they be told what they're actually there for, he says, well, when you're teaching your toddler to be toilet trained, do you explain why? No, he can't understand this. And so that sort of kind of cuts off all their questions right there on the spot.
Whoa.
And
Deep,
it's
Dad.
well, it's one of those
I am
things.
toilet
like,
trained, by the way.
how do you explain to your kids that they should practice violin
Kids
for
suck.
6 hours when they would rather go watch YouTube
Don't get me started
videos,
on
but-
practicing
Well,
violin.
which
yeah.
is I thought you would appreciate that part. So
Yes, I do appreciate this part. What's the other book you translated?
the other one is called Daughter from the Dark. It's by the same writers, Marina and Sergei Dichenko, and this one's coming out.
Sounds
on...
sinister. Daughter from the Dark
It
sounds...
is dark, but it's lighter than, I think it's lighter and not as head-breaking as Vita Nostra. This one's more likely to break your heart.
Are they both like thrillers, sort of like?
They're sold as fantasy, but they're more like psychological urban fantasy fiction if I needed to narrow it down. There's a little bit of the fantasy element, but it's really about the relationships.
I only understand action. Like
There's action
with
in
Arnold
there, for
Schwarzenegger,
sure.
usually. Or maybe Dwayne
There's
Johnson.
some action, it's just not the action. that
Daughter from
Schwarzenegger-
the Dark.
Yeah, and that's coming out on February 11th. So.
Wow, is there a movie like this I can watch, or do I
We
need to read the
we
book?
can make
Not
the
yet.
movie.
You
Like
guys,
Little Red Riding Hood.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
we
you
could
guys
make
want
a
to
movie, guys.
step in and do that, that'd be awesome. Yeah. So this one is about a young 20 something year old guy who has a lovely, wonderful, shallow life, and he encounters this little girl who may or may not be from a different world, and they have this love-hate relationship where there's a lot of, they're very antagonistic, but at the same time they can't really live without each other, and it's about their relationship, and it's also about learning how to play violin, and about the source of talent, and about teaching music, I guess.
Interesting.
Sounds very sophisticated.
There was actually
They
a
are.
question somewhere here that
Okay.
someone was wondering if there's like a difference in translation between like areas of Russia, like if there's like a difference in language.
Oh wow, that's a really good question.
What's the name of the person who asked?
John Greaves.
Oh, that's,
Okay.
Wow.
Hello, John.
Top
Amazing.
fan.
Thank
Top
you,
fan, John Greaves.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, let's ask tough questions because I can't come up with anything. She's much too sophisticated. By the way, I'm speaking so she has time to think about. This is a
Thank
tough
you,
question.
I appreciate it. It is a tough one. I actually don't really
You want to move on to the
know-
next question?
No, I'll try. There are dialects. It's more important what you're translating it into. There have been a lot of questions from the English speakers about whether the book should be Americanized or should it be more for the UK audiences, because there are a lot of differences in language. And between my editor and me, we try to sort of make it more fitting for both. I guess there's some American elements to it because I live here, I know it better, but then there's some classic private school or college UK terms that we put in. So it's not so much about translating from different parts of different dialects and different geographical parts of Russia. It's more about translating it into and being sensitive to
Well, I also have a question. Paranoid aside, but seriously, if you encounter something that's very culturally specific, something that may not be even appropriate in another culture,
Right,
or some reference to, I don't know, World War II or Stalingrad, за нами Москва, something that can only...
that I would leave. That people
Okay,
can
I
always
don't
look
know.
up if they want to. But there are things like the different variations of names that don't make any sense to American audience or English-speaking audience. So I made the executive decision and just kind of scrapped all that. So difference
interesting.
between Alexandra, Sasha, Sashka, Sashenka, and all that. I just kind of eliminated that because it doesn't have the same emotional impact. So.
Well, here's a question, since we spoke about the names. Harry Potter, in Russian, because I read it both in English and in Russian, and in Russian they translated Voldemort as Volan-de-Mort.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
Is that because of Voland from Master and Margarita?
Probably. I would have to ask the translator, but it's just...
And
it's
Snape is Sneg,
right,
which is snow in Russian. Why does it do this?
They
I know it wasn't
wanted
you.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't do that, but I know that some translators choose to translate the names.
Well, it gives a certain feeling. Certain words have a
I
certain...
think it's kind of, to put it in technical terms, it's localizing fiction.
Localizing fiction.
Which, how you localize software, same thing. But I
Interesting.
don't love that. So, but in this books, I didn't have to do much of that. I just more like simplified certain things that wouldn't make any difference, emotional impact.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Julia. These are the books she translated. Daughter from the Dark and Vita Nostra. You can buy them, and then she'll make a
this
pile
one you
of
can
money.
buy now. This one you can buy in February.
You
Pre-order.
can buy this?
Not
You
yet.
can pre-order?
You can pre-order.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll add a comment
very
where you can pre-order, because she came all the way from Los Angeles and tickets are expensive. So, Julia, this stuff makes my head hurt.
I'm sorry.
Let's
I know
get
it's early.
translation. Yes, let's get personal. So I understand,
Right,
Julia.
no, I'm terrified now.
So Julia, you're a Russian and you are translating books, but also you married an American man.
did. Yes,
Okay.
I did.
So what's it like? What is that culture, the mending clash like for you guys?
It's a
I'm,
lot
I'm
of
trying to sound
fun.
sophisticated. So Russian
Using a lot of
woman
nice
married
synonyms.
American man.
It's
What's it like?
it's a trip. It's
Does he like
still-
Russian food?
He does. He does. I don't cook a lot of it because we're watching our weight and all that. But there are two things he won't eat though. Only two things in the entire Russian cuisine is sprats.
Что?
No,
Не
he
ешь
just-
шпроты?
I'm sorry, he just won't eat that.
Oh,
Grounds,
understand.
grounds
Yeah,
for
no.
divorce, everybody. If your husband does not eat sprats,
sprats, sir,
шпроты, forget it, okay?
Sprats
Divorce him.
and холодец. And
Холодец?
I
Also
can't.
fish?
This
The hell is that?
No, this is like the
Oh.
meat
Student,
jelly
что ли?
student. Yeah,
Oh,
same
it's
thing,
like
yeah.
meat.
It's like meat jelly,
gelatin.
basically,
Oh,
and
God.
I can't even have that in a house. Like it's forbidden. That's one thing he's very, very adamant about.
I can't
so.
stand even regular Jello. That.
I mean,
sounds
I
so gross.
understand. I
Okay.
get that, so we can compromise on that.
So your
but he,
husband
like-
does not eat sprats.
No, he does not. It's very upsetting.
What do you all think? Do you think she should divorce the husband? Do you guys have children?
Is this like
We
a dating
do.
show?
We have two lovely children.
Two
who
lovely
also
children.
don't eat sprats or холодец. So.
Do they speak Russian or English? How old are they? Tell us about your children.
Oh no, you're gonna make me. Well, so since I'm only 32, according
32,
to
yes. You adopted big children, I understand, yes.
No, I have two lovely children who are 19, and the other one is almost 22. So they.
Got pregnant at the age of 1. It happens, people.
Right. Thanks.
Do they practice their instrument?
They used to, well, at least the younger one did, but not anymore. Sorry. I am not a very typical Russian mother. I pushed, but I didn't push too hard. So they're not fluent in Russian. They are more like passive. I'm sorry, they're passive.
Next
speakers,
guest,
but
please. No.
That
they're
me?
nevertheless lovely. They speak other languages and they have other interests.
Do they eat Russian food?
They do. More or less sometimes.
Most of
Pelmeni.
it
We
is
all
kind
eat
of gross.
pelmeni.
Do
Pelmeni
they
is
think
a
you're
good
weird
one.
because you're from Russia? How
Yes,
do
they
they?
do.
Yeah, what's it like? Your child is like really American, and then
I asked them last night what they think of me, and they both said I'm terrifying. So apparently I'm very intense.
I can relate.
But thankfully my husband has the softer touch, so he's been, reeling me in all these years.
but you trained your husband well. Like, does he know like Russian? Does he speak Russian?
He understands a lot more than he really should.
Ooh.
They both, all three of them understand. So both kids and my husband, they really get a lot more than they admit, but they're not fluent speakers, which is fine. It doesn't bother me.
Is the rest of your family or friends maybe were they like excited, surprised that you married like an American guy?
Well, no one believed it would last. So I guess
It's never too late.
it's only been 22 years.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Married at
But
age
no,
10.
it's right. Two. No, it's great. It's always a little bit of a compromise. And it's always interesting because you never really quite know what to expect because there's always a little bit of a cultural differences. But he is very accepting of the culture, and he reads a lot of Russian literature. He probably reads more Russian literature than I do at this point. So
Seriously?
yeah, and his favorite restaurant in New York is the Russian Samovar. So
my God.
I know,
I
right?
think you married well. Ladies
think
and
I
gentlemen,
did.
well, mainly ladies,
I think I
but some
did.
gentlemen, okay, he's already taken, obviously.
Yeah, no, he's a good one.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And you guys speak English, obviously,
We
to
do.
each other.
We do. But he refers to himself as наш мальчик.
Наш мальчик,
Наш мальчик. That's
which
what my
means our
parents
boy.
used to-
It sounds a lot like Vita Nostra. How do you say мальчик in Latin?
Voronoi.
I don't know.
Мальчик. Anybody know how to say мальчик in Latin?
Latin?
Latin.
No.
No?
There are. Latin's a dead
Has
language.
to be something with Phil, I think. But
I see. Interesting. Well, what about politics, Julia? I mean, let's make sure
Oh,
we don't talk
really?
about politics.
We don't talk politics, no.
Our president
Well,
is
you
being
never talk-
impeached right
oh,
now.
No, we're
Yeah,
not
that's
going
too
there.
political.
We don't talk about
No.
politics. But what do you think?
No, I'm not
No?
going down. No.
No.
You don't talk politics.
I don't talk
Since
politics.
when? This
But
is like
I'm
the
trying
first
to
time
get you to.
mentioned politics.
Well,
No.
we've never had a guest
is
before.
really-
We've never had a guest, and I
Well,
wanna.
you'll
I
have
wanna
s-
make it
you'll
last.
have to have somebody else talk
There's
about
one last
politics.
question here.
More questions
Oh,
for
great.
Julia.
How
Go ahead.
much does your own point of view or experience affect the translation? Like, does any part of you go
Ooh.
into?
Oh,
Can
you guys
hold
have
on, people.
deep
Hold on, people.
questions.
I want to make sure that you hear the question. Go ahead, younger boy.
Like, does your experience or like point of view affect like how you translate stuff? I guess that's
Of
they're all kind of
course.
hard
Of
questions.
course, they are. Those are excellent questions. Wow, it always does. You always sort of foster the book you're translating. The book has this book has parents, has authors who came up with the story and told the story. But I took it and I fostered it for a little bit, so it's a little bit of me in there, absolutely. And with certain things, like we had to, for legal purposes, we had to change all the quotes in this book because it used a lot of quotes from other books, but we couldn't do that legally, so we had to change the quotes, and the authors gave me the right to choose the quotes to use. So all the quotes are chosen by me. So yeah, there's a lot of me in there.
But by the way, I just wanted to know. Sorry, I just realized. Do you ever talk to the authors? Is
Yeah,
there like
I
a
do.
special initiation they give you? Like Julia, you're now our ambassador, or how does that work?
Well, I don't know if that. I mean, they could choose another translator for the next book if they wanted to. But yeah, I mean, this one I translated before. It wasn't commissioned, so it was before I met them. But after, we collaborate a lot. We talk a lot, and I actually the other day got to suggest an ending to one of their books that they're writing, which was absolutely awesome. So
Why don't you write your own books?
I'm not original enough. I don't have anything to say. I can only translate other people's work. But
Ladies and gentlemen, boys
It's a
and
different
girls,
skill.
she is very humble. Listen,
no, it's true.
so if a boy or a girl or even a grown up wants to take up translation, what advice would you give them?
Follow me on Twitter or Facebook. We'll talk. And
Shameless self-promotion.
yeah, absolutely. But this is not something I can do over, Facebook live video in 2 seconds or less. But just make sure you know that you're probably never going to be rich. So it's not for the money. You'll meet amazing people. Like, this is the best thing that came out of this whole translation. The friends that I made through publishing and through translation I am so blessed with people, and that's what you'll get. People who think the same way, who act the same way, who are just as dorky. That's the best part that comes out of it. So it's awesome. And
So follow your bliss.
yeah,
Basically.
Yeah.
See, even though I am pretty dumb and the crazy Russian dad, we had a guest today. Julia,
I
I
am
think do you want
thrilled.
to play with filters with
no,
me?
I do not want to play with
You don't
filters.
like
They
filters?
can
Get
see
your
the
son to
filters.
play with the filters. No.
That's too bad. Listen, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. It's a holiday
Thank you.
season, right? Like Thanksgiving.
Mid-November.
It's not
Mid-November.
holiday season. Don't rush.
It's not holiday
You've
season.
become
No,
too
take-
American. You
take it
started so
slow.
early.
Yeah.
Yes, but Thanksgiving is just around the corner. If you live in this country, do they celebrate Thanksgiving anywhere else?
I don't think so.
I think they probably celebrate it
Definitely
in
not.
England. No,
No.
probably
No,
not.
I don't
That
think so.
wouldn't make
no.
sense.
Anyway, so
Well, my daughter in Scotland is celebrating it, so.
your daughter is in Scotland.
My daughter is in
Dad.
Scotland.
That's my Scottish accent.
Scottish Russian accent.
Do I sound Scottish? You go roundabout, roundabout.
Well, she'll be celebrating Thanksgiving, so.
So, Julia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Everybody,
Thank you for having me.
Vita Nostra,
Daughter
and
from the
daughter
dark.
from the dark, and then Julia, my friend from the light. As always, thank you so much for joining. Goodbye to everybody.
Thank you for awesome questions.
Yes, you guys are amazing. You see, like, I have some very people with good taste and
You
good
do.
brains following me. Like, I'm not
Absolutely.
just anyway. You have 7 days to subscribe to Crazy Russian Dad.
You always say that.
And next show is coming out next Saturday. What is your? We'll put your Twitter handle, but what is it, just in
Oh,
case?
I should really know that.
Or something.
I don't remember.
I don't
It's on the book. It's something like Julia May Hersey, I think, is my Twitter
Okay.
handle.
We'll put it
Yeah.
on a comment, maybe.
We'll add it to the comments
forget.
because she doesn't know. That's very strange.
I should really
of a
know that, but I don't.
32-year-old not to know. Some youngster
My priorities,
yourself.
because nobody follows me on Twitter, so I don't need
Julie, I usually say good night. So
can I get a hug?
get a hug. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining.
Good night, fanatics.
Julia is amazing. She's a real translator. I hope you learned something today. And we had a first guest. Next Saturday, I'm thinking Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah. Or Michelle Obama.
Well, it'll be hard for him to follow my example.
Yes, yeah, fill your
Big
large
shoes to
shoes.
fill.
Yeah, so thank you all. Good night.
Good
Good
night,
night.
fanatics.
And turning off. Bye all.